I'm really happy about the number of young people who are following this election. Of course, there are people that are coming of age in what has really turned out to be the most interesting election that we've seen in America in a long time. And, you know, I'm really glad when I get questions from people. Zen asked me a little bit ago, is Trump serious? Like these comments that he's made about not letting any Muslims into the United States and that sort of thing. Is he serious about this? Now, of course, this is a very complicated question because when it comes down to it, you have to look at whether he benefits or not, okay? Because the only time when you really know that a politician is serious about something is when they lose votes over it. If you think about, for example, Harry Truman's decision to integrate the armed forces when he knew that that was going to cost him votes in the South, where Southern whites who had made part of the Democratic coalition would turn against him. And so you know that, well, Harry Truman, he was serious about integrating the military and believed that that was the right thing to do. Now, of course, most politicians are not like Harry Truman, that most people in politics, they look at the popular wins and all of that kind of stuff, and they see what happens from there. So when you take that into account, you look at Donald Trump, well, his constituency is, you know, largely traditionalist and nativist and that sort of thing. And I'm not rendering judgment. I'm just talking about this as a constituency. This is what he's reaching for. And if you look at what's going on in Europe right now, especially if you are following politics in France right now, there was the terrorist attack a few weeks ago, and then they had their regional elections only a few weeks after these attacks, and the National Front, which is historically a far-right party, this was the largest vote-getting party in this election. And their rhetoric was largely about traditionalist morality, same-sex, against same-sex marriage, that sort of thing, heavily Catholic, and also anti-immigration, that they don't believe that the government's doing enough to halt immigration. So immigration's something that has a lot of currency in a lot of other Western countries right now. If you look at the Netherlands, Geert Wilders, who is, like Trump, a guy with some very interesting hair. If you ever look this guy up, it's just like, oh my goodness, that is some hair. And it's something about these right-wing politicians and hair that's just kind of a thing. And so when you look at this, Trump is latching on to popular sentiment, and you don't really know for sure whether he really believes what he's saying about not letting Muslims into the country, or if he's just acting as a political opportunist. And then when you look at people who have condemned Trump's comments, in a lot of cases, these are people who are catering to constituencies that don't agree with these comments. So you have to take that into account as well. And like I said, the only way you can really and truly know if a politician is telling the truth is if they don't benefit from what they're saying. And Trump seems to still be cruising toward the nomination. Keep in mind that the way you stay in front of politics is you get media attention. And Trump has done an excellent job with that. No matter what the issue is, Trump has made it about himself. He has made people talk about him no matter what they're talking about. So did he make these outrageous comments because he believes them, or is he making these comments to get attention? That's something you're really going to have to decide, and then you'll have to decide, does it matter his motives, or does it just matter that he's making these comments? Now keep in mind, there are a lot of times when politicians make comments that they don't really follow through with, just like George W. Bush, who said, I want a more limited foreign policy and I oppose nation building. Well, we see what happened with that. And, sometimes people say outrageous things to get elected. Now, of course, then you look back, a lot of people like to make these Trump-Hitler comparisons, which I'm not necessarily a fan of, but at the same time, if you look at it this way, a lot of people said when Hitler was running, he doesn't believe everything that he's saying and that sort of thing, that he's really going to govern more moderately than that. Some people do govern more moderately. Some people do exactly what they say they're going to do. So when it comes down to it, you're going to have to make that decision, and I can't really answer for anybody whether he's serious or not, because, ladies and gentlemen, that's politics. Until the next drive.